You're listening to Expat Radio, your worldwide friend.
Right, we're going live to Christine and to Ryan this morning. Just giving him a buzz now.
Hello.
Good morning.
What's happening?
Well,
Good morning.
Morning, Ryan. How are you? Thanks for coming.
I'm very well, my friend.
Just the three of us
Great
here.
to be back.
Isn't it nice and cosy? Have you got the coffee machine on?
I have indeed.
Yeah, well, just one sugar in mine, mate, not two, because like that, well, if I have too many sugars, I don't blink, and there's nothing
Espresso
worse.
to go.
Exactly, yeah. It's like going for a suppository when you've not gone for one. You walk out of the doctor's surgery and you think, well, I didn't go in for that, but there you go. Anyway, so would you like to tell everybody what's on the show today? Is Saunders with us?
Yeah.
Is she
Yes.
I thought you were having a lie down then. I thought you'd had enough.
No, I am here.
Oh.
And I am here. I was hoping, not hoping, but I was thinking the news was coming on, and so we've missed the news this morning.
No, well, we overrun. It's Rosemary's fault, but I can't kick off and go bananas. I love her to pieces, and she loves me. It's an ongoing thing between the pair of us. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, good morning to Rosemary. I know that she said hello to me, so hello back if she's listening. That's fantastic. So today, the show, I am giving my hosting over to Ryan today. He is actually going to host the show with me, and he's going to actually interview me today. So,
I'm
Amazing.
loving this.
Shall I take it from here then, Chris?
yes, Ryan, it's all you.
Amazing. So, hello everybody. If you might remember me from a couple of months back, came on with the show with Chris, and I thought, do you know what? Wouldn't it be great to hear more about our host? Wouldn't it be great to hear more about Chris Saunders? So I thought I would offer the opportunity for me to interview her so we can all get to know her. So that's what the next 45 minutes to an hour is going to be all about. Are we excited for that?
Yes.
Very. I can't wait. I can't wait for all the dirt coming out on this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dirt, huh? Ooh, I didn't prepare for dirt.
Phil, that's what's going to come out with this. No, it'll be nice. It's a family show. It'll be nice.
So, Chris, give us an overview. Who is Chris Saunders?
So, first of all, Ryan, thank you for doing this with me. I know when you had suggested me talking about myself, that's something that's very challenging for me to do just on my own. So, having you here with me is an honor, and I wouldn't have picked anyone but you for this.
Very kind of you.
Thank you. So, I am an empowerment coach. I am the owner of WholeHearted Life, which is my coaching business here in Colorado. And I get to help others discover their story. And I use strategies to help do that through some of my coaching teachings and experience. And what that does is, everyone has a story and it matters. And it really takes you to a place of self-discovery and takes you out of places where you're stuck. It helps you find your purpose. And those are the main things that I do. And then I also like to help people share their story in ways. It could be, through writing. It could be through a radio interview. It could be through, interpretive dance if you wanted. It could be through music, all those different ways. And so that's my passion. I'm a philanthropist. I give to others. I was born to serve. I really feel like that's my calling. And so I've been doing that for a very long time.
Hold on, how do you spell philanthropist? I'm trying to write down here what you've done because I don't know half of what you're telling me now. How do I spell this?
Philanthropist?
Is it with a PH or an F?
PH.
Or is that, or an X and a Y at the start of it?
Right. I'm a writer. I get to write every month for an amazing magazine, One Tribe Magazine, which I've talked about before. And that serves me as a creative outlet where I get to impact and serve others by sharing my own story and my own experiences. And then, of course, I am honored to do this radio show every week on Expat Radio, where that is where people have that opportunity to share their story if they're looking to do so. I'm a wife, and I'm a dog mom. I'm a daughter, sister, and a friend. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
So I love that, and that there's so much that we can dive into. I'm particularly interested in diving in. So once we break off for a song, I think we've got you two lined up in a second, and then we're going to touch on a bit more of your story, because I really think that those people that can show up and serve, they can do so having experiences in their own life themselves, and that's where your probably purpose might come from. So let's dive into that after we break off for you two.
Sounds great.
Dun, dun, dun.
We are back.
You're back live.
Fantastic. Should I take it away?
You help yourself. I'm just going to put my feet behind on the desk here and put my hands behind my head.
I'm here. Sorry, I don't know about it, but
You did what?
I pushed.
Wait, did you press it?
Gosh.
Very good.
You're back. That's all that matters.
Your camera's on as well. That's
Keep
great.
your
Well,
feet up, Dave.
hello. Oh, hello. I can see her now. Morning, dear. See, it's a good job she's dressed.
I know. I was like, why is the camera on? I don't understand what's going on this morning. See, this is what happens when the roles are reversed. You just get all like, it's like messes with you a little bit.
Yeah, well, that Artex needs sorting out, I'm telling you, on the ceiling there.
What biscuits have you got, Dave?
Biscuits? I need biscuits. That's one thing. I just want to lie down. I just want to chill out. You two carry on and I'm
Fantastic.
out for the count.
So, Chris, you touched on all the things that you do and who you are. Just tell us a little bit about your story. Help us understand what it's been like being you.
Being me. Wow, that's awesome. So, like I said, I have been drawn to serve my whole life. I've been a public servant for 25 years. And in those 25 years, I was a drug and alcohol therapist for 16 of those years. And I'm not going to dive really into that because that was sort of like, that was my calling and that's what I love to do. And one of the most important pieces of my story in there is when I was an intern, I was sexually assaulted and sort of held on to that for 25 years until about 2016 when I realized I needed to shift my energy a little bit and do something around figuring out this trauma and why it was keeping me stuck.
What helped you realize that?
I was lucky enough. I have some feedback. Can you guys hear that? Or is it just on my end? Yeah? Shoot.
No, we're
okay,
fine
hopefully
at this end. We're fine at this end. Don't worry.
Okay. So I was lucky enough to get some Tony Robbins tickets to one of his events. And those, I don't know if anybody's ever been, but they're so amazing and so energetic. And what you get to do in those events is do some really deep internal work and figure out some things that are keeping you stuck. And it really was at that moment where I was like, I need to figure this out. We get to figure out like what your why is and what your purpose is and what your mission is and, those sorts of things in this weekend long workshop. And I figured out I wanted to do something different. And I knew that I couldn't do something different as in a job and wanted to be a coach if I didn't figure this out. Like that wouldn't have served me well at all. So I went back to school. And I got to go back to school, the same person, Chloe Madonis, who taught Tony Robbins a lot of the things that he knows. So that's really, really cool. So it's a full circle type of thing. And I used what I learned in that class and through that schooling to start working on my own trauma and my own things that were keeping me stuck. So I found the power of discovering my story and how it really helped me chunk out what was happening, how I could work through it, how I, kind of step by step for myself. And it was an outlet. And so my creative outlet at that point, I could have written, I can't sing, so we're not going to put anybody through that. But my outlet was to do art, and it was not my own art. It was an art through a tattoo artist, my very good friend Audrey, who designed a tattoo, and my story is actually tattooed on my back in the form of flowers and words. So that was my creative outlet in sharing my story until I got to meet you. And I met you almost a year ago now. And the first time I ever publicly told my story was on one of your Facebook communities, Why Wednesday. And that was the most powerful expression of my story that I could actually imagine doing. So that's sort of, my story in a nutshell. And my mission through all of this is I want to ease suffering for anyone I can, anytime I can. And because we don't have to suffer. Like that's my light bulb of over my head when I'm going through all of this is I suffered for 25 years. And we don't have to, because we can, there are ways that we can let go of that stuff. So
I think that's really powerful. I mean, if you can just say that again, say your why again, and then we'll break off for a song.
Yeah. So my mission is I want to help anyone I can, anytime I can, to ease their suffering.
Don't know what time zone we're on.
Fantastic.
Let's go.
Right, chaps, away you go. All yours.
Dave, I was just wondering, is there an email address that the listeners can message in some questions that they might have for Chris, if there's anything that she can help them with?
Yeah, we can do that. expatradio.fr@gmail.com, or you can go on the contact page on the website.
Fantastic. So anybody got any questions for Chris come the end, then that'll be cool. We'll hopefully get some questions in that we can use Chris's experience to help you move forward. And I think what you just said before we went for a song, Chris, is really, really powerful. And how are you using that purpose and mission? You've got your coaching ethos about helping people live a wholehearted life. Tell us a bit more about wholehearted life and what that really means.
Yeah. In thinking about that, there's so many things that could describe what that would mean for me. And I think the cool thing about it is it could mean something very different to someone else. And that's the beauty of wholehearted living and having a wholehearted life. And for me, some of those things, like, I won't touch on them all because I have a huge sort of list of things that I usually, sort of refer to, when I'm thinking about this topic. But I think the number one thing is knowing, your rules and your beliefs and your values. And I've talked about that on the radio before, and understanding what those mean and how they drive getting your needs met every day. And I'm not going to dive super deep into those. And it really is around being unapologetically authentic. And when I say that, I've heard people say, well, that's just me. That's how I'm going to be. And that's my authentic self. And your authentic self could be kind of a jerk. And so I think like having some self-awareness around that piece of thing and that flexibility, around being authentic is, yes, we want people to be authentic and be unapologetic and speak your truth. But then you also have to have, do that in a kind way. I think that there are times that people think, you and I have had this conversation because I think you lead with love tough. People say tough love, but you lead with love tough because love comes first. Yep. And, I honor that in you, and I have really incorporated some of that into my coaching as well. And it's really that empathy that you have to have in your world to have a wholehearted life, is having that empathy. I think people feel like there's times when sympathy is needed and empathy, and people really don't want to feel sorry for themselves, mm-hmm. or they don't want you to feel sorry for them. They want you to understand them. And that's really sort of the key, is having that empathy for others. And that helps us lead with love. It helps us show that we care about people, that we care about humanity, that there's kindness. And then again, on the other side, like we just said, sometimes you got to get a little tough, but you do it in a kind way. And so those are some of those things. And then the second big one for me, and I know that you will get this, is knowing what your purpose is, or your why, or your mission. It really helps you keep yourself grounded in the work that you're doing when you figure out what it is you do and why you want to do it and where you want to go. It helps you feel, like everything comes back to that. It keeps you grounded. Mm-hmm. And that allows you to contribute to others beyond yourself. So, yeah.
How do you know when you're living a wholehearted life?
for me, I feel when I have a little bit of uncertainty, it's one of my biggest needs that is hard for me to grasp, is that uncertainty piece, because I know that in that space of uncertainty, I have opportunity and I have room for growth. That growth mindset is absolutely huge, as you know, with your community. And so having that space, that mindset, that growth mindset keeps me being able to do all these other things, because it finds me opportunities to be flexible, to connect with people. Connection is my fire. Like that keeps me going. Connecting with others is my fire. So
one thing I find from you is that when I speak with you, you always seem to have such a level of self-awareness. What helps you get that level of self-awareness?
For me, I've actually sort of adopted and kind of tweaked and created this question of coming from a place of curiosity, not only for others, but for myself. And if I feel I am having an off day, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling, something that's not like one of those, awesome feelings like happy or love or joy. Like if I'm feeling just anxious or something, I ask myself a series of questions very, very quickly. And I've talked about this on the show as well. It's the loss, less, never, and what are the opportunities? Like, have I lost something? Do I have less of something? Do I feel like I'm never going to have something? And what are my opportunities? And it helps me sort of chunk out what I'm feeling and where I'm feeling it. And then I can find that opportunity.
That's amazing. So you ask yourself powerful questions, and I think that's really, really powerful. And obviously your mission is to help ease suffering wherever and whenever. And I think it'd be a good use of our time to try and help give some tips to our listeners after the next song. Would that be cool?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely, love it.
Fantastic. So I think we've got Ed Sheeran up next.
Awesome.
Oh.
I love Ed Sheeran.
There's
Good
hope
old Ed.
I was going to say,
yes.
There's hope for people with ginger hair all over the world now.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, I love him. He's awesome, and I feel, I'm just going to keep to myself. It's just amazing.
Awesome. So, Chris, let's carry on this awesome conversation, and I'm interested in hearing your top tips to help our listeners live a wholehearted life in 2019. So helping them get off of autopilot, help people live more wholeheartedly in 2019. What would your top tips for them be?
Top tips. Let's see here. So I think number one is knowing your purpose, knowing your why, figuring that out. And there are many, many ways that you can do that through, coaching, through journaling, through whatever it is that you feel like your why is going to be. And I think some of the bigger things that people can think about are really sort of checking your self-talk and your inner dialogue. I think that a lot of us have those beliefs or that we're not good enough. And I always think of the example of, sitting down with your best friend and telling them how awful they are, how dumb they are. And like, you would never do that. I would never do that. So why would you do that to yourself?
Yep.
So it's really, just having that awareness of how you talk to yourself is really, really important. And that life is happening for us, not to us. That's one of my favorite Tony Robbins quotes. It really is, life is happening for us, not to us. Because if it's happening to us, you're missing the opportunities.
Tell us a bit more about that. Give us some examples of how life's happened for you and not to you.
Well, in everything that's happening, I think maybe you're disappointed because you didn't, get a gig or a job or whatever it is. Or like I didn't get a job, 5 years ago. And, my mind is saying, God, why is this happening to me? I don't understand this. And it's like, it blocks you when you can say, okay, why is this happening for me? What are the opportunities? Was there something I could have done differently in my job interview? Like really sort of looking at that self-growth and that mindset, like what could I have done, differently. When it's for me, it's really happening for me. It's opportunities. There's opportunity in every situation. So I've pretty much negated that whole comment of life is happening, to you, because it's not. It's happening for you. There's things that are, supposed to happen for you with the energy you put out there. And that's a whole nother conversation. And I think approaching, the day from a place of curiosity, again, looking at those opportunities, and then, again, faced with challenges, look at those questions. Ask yourself really quality, good questions. And I've talked about that on the show before as well. And flexibility. I think those are, some of the key ones. And then I feel like what's coming up for me right now is just to contribute something beyond yourself. When you contribute to someone or do something nice for someone, it just fills your heart. And there's no expectation. Like going out and doing something nice for someone shouldn't have an expectation set to it. It should just be you want to do it because you want to do it. Just the other day I went to the supermarket, and there was a man who was just sitting there with a sign that says "Sleepless in Longmont." I'm not talking to anyone. It's very cold outside. I went and bought him some food, and he was very, very grateful. And people were asking me, do you know that guy? And I just walked away. It's like, I just don't give me attention. I just wanted to do something nice for someone.
I find that really interesting, because in today's world of social media, a lot of people will have posted that, and I'm listening to that story. It's the first time I've heard it, and I don't think you've posted that anywhere. And I think that really goes to show, you have zero expectations. You did it because of the person you are, and that's quite touching to hear, because normally there are people out there that as soon as they do something nice, they're sharing it almost because there's something about the kudos that it gives them. But no, it's nice to hear that wow, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to say anything to anyone, and I got home and John found the receipt, and he's like, "What did you buy at Wendy's? Like, what did you buy?" I was like, "Oh," and I told him the story, and same thing. He's like, "Wow, babe, that's really cool." And I just, and I don't normally do that type of thing. I do things for other people. I felt compelled to do that for this man, and I just felt called to do it, and that was really, really cool. And then, I have a saying, and I think that there's a question too that I want to answer. My saying, and I say it a lot, but it begins and ends with love.
Yeah.
And I think that if people can really just have that empathy and be present with others, that love happens. And then you can express that through gratitude and those sorts of things. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Any more tips for our listeners? Those were powerful.
Well, I probably have more, but I really feel like, expressing gratitude and coming from a place of gratitude. We can't have two emotions at the same time. Yes, we can flip-flop in a split second between different emotions and feelings. If you go and approach life with gratitude, it's very, very difficult to have anger and resentment and judgment and those sorts of negative feelings if you are grateful.
I love that. Let me just, I'm always the student. I'm sat here listening to your amazing wisdom, and I've taken some notes myself. So let me play back for the listeners the lessons or the tips of how to live a more wholehearted life in 2019 from Chris Saunders. So first and foremost, find your why, live your mission and purpose. Number 2, check your self-talk. Number 3, life is happening for us, not to us. Number 4, ask good questions. Number 5, give with no expectations of anything in return. Number 6, it begins and ends with love.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, powerful. And I think we're going to get a song from Elton John to take us away.
Yay!
You know these hair transplants that Elton John had?
The what?
He went bald and he had a hair transplant, didn't he? He had when they put a full rug on his head. Well,
I don't know.
Well, my mate went for the same thing, but one of these dodgy places out in Malaysia, and he asked for a hair transplant, and they said, "We haven't got a hair, but we can do it with a rabbit." So they put a rabbit on his head. It got lost in translation somewhere along the line.
It's not very funny.
Boom, boom. Get in there. Anyway, me and Ryan are going to sing happy birthday to you before we finish today.
Definitely.
Oh, gosh.
We're going to give it the a cappella version, big time.
All your dreams will be made.
Awesome.
Oh, you're going to love this. It'll be like Peters and Lee gone wrong.
Let's save it to the end so we don't lose too many listeners.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a godsend that he was blind, you know, because if he saw the amount of people that walked out whenever they were in concert, he'd have lost the will to live. Anyway, over to you two.
Amazing. Right. So let's take some questions. So we've had a question come through from Chrissy from New York. That was a terrible accent. I apologise. Chrissy asks, how do you know who's the right person to seek out when there's stuff inside that holds you back and stalls your growth to be all that you are capable of?
Chrissy, I love her. Hi, Chrissy. I hope you're having a good day. It's just so you guys know, Chrissy is one of my dear friends. So I think what's really important when seeking someone out is having that genuine connection. Like, there's a feeling that you get when you connect with someone, when you have a conversation with someone, and it comes along the lines of having, things in alignment, like values, beliefs. And sometimes there's that space that someone can create for you that allows you to have that vulnerability that sometimes is pretty scary. So if you're having that feeling of like, yes, this person is awesome, this person creates that space for me that's like not judgmental, that allows me to have my feelings and doesn't try to fix them all the time, or this is like a topic I've been writing about lately and talking about, is creating a space for someone to feel safe and to express that. And if you're getting that feeling, that's you should go with it. And if you're getting that feeling like, oh, I'm just not feeling aligned, I'm just not feeling the energy, I'm not feeling the vibe, it's okay to say this isn't my person. And I think that's the key part. Sometimes you think people are your people and sometimes they're not. And it's okay to say, this person just isn't my person anymore. So that would be my advice.
Is that coming from personal experience?
Absolutely. I have had a few people in my life who I believe, sort of were my people and supported me unconditionally. And that's another thing, about living in your whole heart, is having that, like, there's no conditions. It's 100-100 relationships. And I know you and I are probably going to have a conversation about this very soon. It's 100-100. It's not a 50-50 thing. Relationships 50-50 is bargaining for love and bargaining for connection. And for me, that doesn't work. It's like, I'm all in. I will give my 100%, even if the other person isn't giving 100%. That's not for me to judge. I give my 100%, and it's great if someone wants to give you 100%, and it's not all the time. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. We know that. So yes, I think there's unconditional, and it's really that space. So getting back to the question, is it a personal experience? Yes. You give your all, and sometimes there's a point where you're like, okay, I'm done giving my all. This person just isn't my person. And that's okay. It's totally okay. And it's not something like you have to go, I'm done with you, whatever. I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. Don't ever contact me type of thing. It's just, I just need a break, and we go from there. So yeah. It happens.
Wow.
Yep.
I am always learning in your company, and I guess I've got a question. How do you keep learning?
How do I keep learning? I do. I look for opportunities. It's not every day. I think it's probably at least once or twice a day. Sometimes days teach you lessons more than other days. And I think having that self-awareness that you're feeling stuck and there's a reason why, and it's probably because of your self-talk. So I really go to my self-talk to find out, what am I missing? What am I needing in my life? What am I looking for? And sometimes it's sometimes it's a, hey, I need to connect with someone. I need, I know I have done that with you. Like, hey, I was just thinking about you. I need to connect. And it's like a 2-second connection, and it just makes you feel better. And I have people that I do that with, and, conversations all day long via text, via, face-to-face conversations, those sorts of things. But it's really looking for those opportunities of, oh, that didn't really go the way I thought it was going to go. How could I have done that differently? Yeah. And it's not about the other person. It's about me. It really is in that moment about me. Mm-hmm.
I like that you say it's about you because, today's been about you. And I really hope that the listeners feel that they've heard some more about you, able to connect to your story. And I guess share with them what you plan on doing this 2019 with your mission.
Yeah. So 2019 is just beginning, and for those of the folks who follow me, resolutions aren't really my jam, so I didn't really make a resolution. Mm-hmm. But I do vision boards every year, and they're very powerful for me, and I've talked about them on the show before way in the beginning, so some people may have heard that, but I am planning on doing some more vision board workshops for folks. I'm going to continue with this radio show. I have some amazing, inspiring guests coming on, which just makes me feel so awesome that I get to share these stories with people, and not just hold them all to myself, which I could really do. Like, oh, I like this person. I'll have their inspiration. Nobody else gets to have any, but why would I do that when they can help in my own mission of easing some suffering through their inspiration and their stories. I'm going to continue writing for One Tribe, and I'm working on some workshops for my coaching business, along the lines of alignments and the rules, values, and beliefs, like really digging into those and giving some tips and tools around those. And like, I really just feel like doing that energy work, like putting that energy out there, that's sort of what I'm focusing on. And really just sort of touching on topics I feel in my heart are really important, that I'm seeing a need for, and hopefully being able to get some really good connections built through there, and just continue to share my knowledge and impact as many people as I can.
So how can people connect with you?
I have a couple of social media, Facebook, Christine Saunders, and I have Instagram at Follow Your Whole Heart. I have a webpage, followyourwholeheart.com, which is in the process of being rebuilt and rebranded. So that's another thing that I'm doing this year is, doing logos and rebranding and branching out that way, which I've sort of held off on for a little bit just to sort of focus on some other things. And then I have the YouTube channel where you can go back and listen to all of the shows that I have done and all the amazing guests that I've had on. And that's WholeHearted Life on YouTube.
Awesome. Dave, are we going to sing Happy Birthday before or after Shaka Khan?
I think it should be done before, because people are going to need therapy after it. This is going to be the best version of this you've ever heard in your life.
I'm so excited.
Hold on, just let me warm up. Now you're ready. Oh, I've just been waxed. Through my love tunnel. That's what happens when have you ever had that done? My God, I remember coming home once, I was supposed to be going on holiday, and this girl she'd set me up with this beautician that had turned up at the house with a bowl full of wax up in the bedroom, this hot wax, and I was told to go upstairs, and I thought, I'm in here. And then I didn't realise that this woman was upstairs with this, looking like a doctor, with this strip of whatever it was that was going on there. She said, shirt off. I thought, oh, you don't muck about, do you, girl? And then I realised, I thought, what have we done here? And she said, you're being waxed. You're going on holiday, aren't you? You're being waxed. You're going to Greece. She said, well, if you have a hairy chest, the sun cream won't stay on your chest, so you'll burn you. It'll look like you've got a mosaic on your chest if you get burned. I went, all right. My God, the next 2 minutes of that session, I've never brought back in my life again. Oh, smooth. It was lovely. It was. I tell you what, I even fancied myself after I had it done. But my God, I mean, every time I see a chicken breast in Tesco's supermarket now, or Super U over here, I always think of that day. You'll never see anything so smooth in all your life. But anyway, we're ready for this Happy birthday. Right, ready? I'll do it in the voice of Mick Jagger. Who can you do, Ryan?
The West Country. Here.
West Country?
Here, yeah.
Oh,
Farmer.
A farmer in the West Country singing Happy Birthday with Mick Jagger doing the remix of Happy Birthday to Christine. We ready?
I am ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Saunders.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday to you. For tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh my God. You two gentlemen are amazing.
We are now available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, and children's christenings.
Fantastic. I'm booking you.
Wow,
we can also exercise houses. If you want anything gotten rid of that's in there, we can scare them to death and get it cleared straight away.
Oh my God. Well, thank you, Ryan, for doing this hosting takeover, and maybe this is going to happen again with something else. That would be really fun to do this again.
It was my pleasure, Chris. The world needed to hear more of you, and I'm just glad that I was able to bring that out and share you with the world.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave, for having me back. Appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, pal. I've told you. We're waiting for you to do a show. The show's there for you. You're going to be a presenter. I want you on as a presenter. I've told you that.
I love it.
Wait till you've got to have... The thing is, Saunders does the medicals for all the presenters when they come on board. They have to go through So, apparently she's had a manicure and a pedicure, because she walks on your back as well. That's the other thing she checks out. She walks over hot coals and then treads on your back and checks that you've got...
Hot Live Radio. That's fantastic.
Checks that you've got spinal alignment before you can go on the radio. Walking over your back. Yes, you're in. You're one of the team. Happy days. You're on board. Jesus. On that note, should we go to Twin Peaks? Herself.
What was that?
I said on that note, should we go to Twin Peaks herself? I need to lie down. I'm ready for my dinner. Pot noodle on toast I'm having today.
Oh, my God. Have a fantastic day.
Adios.